appreciate you carving out the time to chat with us and understand LinkedIn a little bit better. So just by way of explaining what is going on right now, again, I am Nicole Seuss. I only work with higher education institutions in the state of Texas, specifically the large public system. So I work really heavily with the UT system, and we are thrilled to be running this pilot with you guys. So we just launched LinkedIn Learning on a site-wide basis from a trial perspective. So you guys all have access to LinkedIn Learning, as do all current faculty, staff, and students. And it will go through the very end of August right now from a trial perspective. The goal here is that we get lots of folks to be able to use it so that you guys can do an assessment to see if this is right for your campus. So it will be available through your summer classes for you to trial. And then hopefully we'll get it extended and all the integrations set up. So as Jay mentioned, the deeper Blackboard integrations are not set up quite yet, but assuming this does get extended, which we are all hopeful, they will be set up for the future. So just wanted to throw that out there. So I will take a step back now and really talk about what this is if you haven't heard of it, and then we'll walk through how to log in, how various faculty members are using it. We are so appreciative of Dr. Martinez, who will share her experience, and then we can kind of run through a Q&A section. But if you have questions, please feel free to hop in and ask them. I love to keep these more conversational so we can get everything asked. So everyone sort of knows LinkedIn as the social media site for professionals, and that we are. We have actually over 722 million is our most recent number here. And we take all of the information from this social connection piece, and we create what's known as the LinkedIn Economic Graph, which is essentially a digital representation of the global economy. So what we do with this is we create products and services that essentially disrupt the market, that are a little bit different utilizing this data. And that's what we've done with LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn Learning sits atop this LinkedIn ecosystem and pulls in all of the members and companies and jobs and knowledge and what industry is trending, what keywords are trending. And we actually put an e-learning library with over 16,000 courses in 7 languages on top of this data to be able to deliver customized recommendations down to individual users. Now, this is heavily used in higher education for a number of topics, and we'll get into those, but certainly first and foremost, it is helping students stand out with badging and micro-credentialing on small skill-based pieces of content so that recruitment technology picks them up. It is also heavily used by faculty as supplemental material, content, and curricula to make your guys' lives easier, to give additional context for areas of study. So this is all world-class content taught by industry experts, available 24/7 on apps or iOS or Android or desktops, and you can really access it anywhere. So for you guys, in order to access this content, you want to visit this website. It is wonderful. I've got the link here, but you can log in to your account's instance right here on this login tab. You scroll down a little bit, and anybody can log in using your normal LinkedIn credential, or excuse me, your normal institution credentials. So the very first time you log in, you're going to enter your UTRGV credentials, and then you're going to get a pop-up that says, if you have a personal LinkedIn profile, do you want to connect it? If you do have one, it is highly recommended that you connect it because it's going to unlock a bunch of features, functionality, chats, all your history will be stored for life. Nothing from your personal account is going to come into your UTRGV learning account. So it is highly recommended you connect them if you have that option. If you do not have a LinkedIn profile, don't want one, don't want to connect it, no problem. You can proceed to learning without connecting it. So I just wanted to highlight that change for you. So we're good. Now you kind of know what it is, and you know a little bit about how to access it. So a couple of things I wanted to point out. Prior to us launching on your campus, this was actually being heavily utilized already on your campus. Folks were going out and actually paying for access. So about 1,400 people on your campus were consuming hundreds of pieces of content um, on a regular basis. So it's really nice that your institution is now offering this. So what has been consumed in the past is a lot of business software, leadership, professional development, career management, project management. So you can see sort of the depth and breadth and scope. So what we're trying to do here is a number of things with this product. First and foremost, as mentioned, this is about student success. Students with one single LinkedIn Learning badge, it's a little bit of uptick, 9% more hireable into meaningful employment. But really, we're talking about how students can manage a professional identity. Students like myself, I'm a first-gen college grad. I wasn't born into a familial network. So how do we get folks like myself an advantage to be able to manage your professional identity? And that is really LinkedIn, a place where folks can earn badges, micro-credentials. The learning platform sits atop this. They can grab projects they do at your institution, our micro-credentials, really build this network to help them stand out. And that's what we're trying to work with you guys to accomplish. The learning platform also is really helped for campus learning, digital literacy. If you need real-time training on a technology, if you want to develop skills, it's all there at your fingertips across the campus. We do try really heavily to be a modern learning experience. So our younger generations, basically millennials and down, really want the social connection.
Focus on yourself. This is mommy's online session, online teaching session.
We
Online
really want,
seminar.
sorry, if you could mute your line, it would be really helpful. Thank you so much. But for millennials and down, they really want those social connections. So everything from live events to liking publicly courses, communicating Q&A sessions, all of those are really, really helpful. And then of course, noting that all campuses are running on limited resources, we try to help across a scope of things. There we go. That is really the goal here, is a number of different areas. So how does this help you guys specifically? Well, from a faculty perspective, there's a number of things you guys can do with this tool. The first one is incorporating this content into curricula as primary curricula or as support material, supplemental material. Next, we have to talk about our own professional development. Our roles have changed so incredibly much in the last 16 months. So making sure that we have all the relevant skills that we need. And then again, in the last 16 months, it has been really difficult from a mental health perspective. So just managing our own mental health and our own personal development is something that I care deeply about. And I think especially in higher education, it's something we all need to be cognizant of. And there's lots of tools within LinkedIn Learning on that as well. So I'm going to go through each of these segments in a little bit more detail, starting with content in your classrooms. So as far as how this is being used in various institutions, it really ranges. We have a lot of institutions that use this from a flipped classroom or blended learning model, a lot specifically in our creative space. So I know Fashion Institute of Technology over in New York uses this extremely heavily, where all their classroom time is spent doing projects, but the learning is spent within LinkedIn Learning. Also, making sure that students are earning badges and micro-credentials within LinkedIn. So UT Dallas, almost every technical student graduates with a certification in Python, because it is such a common technology that's really heavily needed within the industry right now. That becomes really important to them. So it's deeply incorporated into curricula. I have other campuses that we work with. So for example, UT Arlington, I'm working with a faculty member now, and he's teaching in the psychology program. And what we did is we ran their numbers within LinkedIn. So we do have a lot of data here we can support you guys with. And we started to see that the psychology majors at UT Arlington Right out of school, they got jobs at employers. But about 5 years out of school, most of them were actually opening their own practices. So, as a supplemental track in the psychology department, we created some LinkedIn Learning content about small business management, entrepreneurship, how to open a small business. And that was incorporated into the psychology program as supplemental material with the note that, almost over half of psychology students would open their own practice within 5 years of graduation. And it has been wildly popular and well received. So, if you want to do things like that, it's all there. And then just to note, this can be heavily customized, whether you want to shoot a video for your class specifically and add it to the LinkedIn platform, or just pick and choose little videos within LinkedIn and create your own list. All of that is customizable within the platform. All right, so what kind of content? I realized that 17,000 courses is a lot to look through. So I just wanted to kind of highlight a couple of courses that have been well received, specifically in higher education and in Texas specifically. So just looking at some subject topics, financial courses are really popular, everything from basics. If you see foundations or fundamentals in a course title, it's going to be an overview of an entire course, but it gets very specific, Excel for accountants or broad. Our creative library continues to be the best-in-class, largest library available on the web today. Our founder, Linda Weinman, the founder of lynda.com, was a faculty member herself, started this company in her garage, teaching Adobe classes in this model on DVDs, actually. So really, really cool story, but definitely check out our creative library. It's really strong, both from a creativity standpoint or a technology around creativity. As mentioned, Python tends to be really big. There's courses, and then there's what's called learning paths, which are series of courses strung together to take people from very low skills in a subject to very high level skills. So everything from, small videos to learning paths, there's going to be a lot of content available. You'll also notice one of these popular ones is an exam prep course. Of course, there are industry recognized certifications in and around lots of different things, Microsoft, Adobe. If you do want you to get one of these industry recognized certifications, or you want your students to, all of the test prep material, including the practice exam, is available within LinkedIn Learning. And then there's just a lot of content in terms of what's relevant and happening in the world right now, DE&I content, business ethics, supporting your mental health while working from home, or supporting your mental health while offices reopen. So, depending on what your needs are, there should be a lot of resources for you guys to be able to utilize something. So how do we find content? Well, I'm going to show you how to do some searches here shortly, but we also have services to assist with this. So there are some curated learning paths, as mentioned. There's actually over 300 of them now. So check out those learning paths. You can also shoot and upload your own custom content, whether it's a link to a YouTube video or actually something that you film that you want to load. You can load it in here. It will only be available within your instance. You do need to talk to the admins of this account to make it searchable within the account, but it is certainly possible. And we can also help you map our content. So if you have 50 topics you want to teach LinkedIn Learning for, you just don't have the time to search for 50 different things, you could submit lists to us and we will map our content to the things you care about. In fact, we have already provided your campus mapped content to all the most relevant courses within higher education, including all of our content mapped to various competencies like JISC and NACE that are heavily utilized on the campus. So I believe on the landing page that we discussed earlier, you can find those resources. So hopefully that gives you guys some ideas about how to incorporate this into curricula. You can assign it. We'll show you how to grab the links right now before the Blackboard integration is deeply done. And hopefully once it's all set up, then it will be searchable within Blackboard. So let's talk a moment about our professional development. You know, personal growth is so critically important. It used to be year over year, about 30% of someone's core job skills would change in higher education every year. Since the pandemic hit, it is estimated that 54% of our core job skills and technologies have needed to change. And that is actually projected to continue through 2022. That is so much. Our human resources and learning development teams are responsible for helping us grow through these, but this is too much for any one team to handle. The onus is on us to self-identify where we may need training, and that's what this tool is for. If you self-identify that you need some additional support, you can certainly go out and find it here. Even if it's watching a 2-minute video on how to do VLOOKUP in Excel, or if you have a difficult conversation coming up and you want to watch the course on how to have difficult conversations at 2x the speed and just watch a little bit of it, whatever it is, this is here to support our own professional development and our personal growth. So from an education perspective, if you go into LinkedIn Learning and you type something as simple as teaching, there's going to be a ton of content that pops up in terms of classroom management, how to write a syllabus, teaching with technology, how to take your content online quickly and efficiently. That one was popular last spring. So you can take a look at all of these to help with your core roles. Again, I mentioned before the industry recognized certifications. So if your own professional development includes getting certified, check out these test prep or certification courses. Those are all available to you. And then I have to mention, mental health. I think it's so critically important. So there's a ton of courses here to really help with our own stability in terms of overcoming cultural biases, resilience, meditation, mindfulness. I'm a mother of 7-year-old twins, and I'm just terrible at taking pictures. They all look horrible. I don't know why, but I spent the pandemic taking courses on how to take better pictures with my iPhone, and it really was a wonderful hobby that was healthy and helped me manage my own stress through some of the most challenging times last summer. So if you need to find a hobby, there's all kinds of vocal lessons and photography, figure drawing, playing the piano. So I would explore those two on an as needed basis, just to help, with our own context here. So I'm going to pause here. We're going to take a peek at the actual account live, but are there any questions so far?
Nicole, I've suggested that they put their questions in the chat so that we
Okay.
can address them collectively at the end of the session.
Yeah, okay, perfect. We
All
can
right.
definitely do that. So once you log in and you connect your LinkedIn profile, this is what you see. So you can see right off the bat that the system is starting to recommend courses to me based on who I am and where I am in my career. So, everyone is going to get a different view. So just by way of example, I was working with an institution in the Silicon Valley, and they were teaching primarily SPSS in their technology courses. LinkedIn Learning was able to read the local workforce and noticed that R was actually more prevalent in job descriptions and as a requirement for jobs for new hires. And actually, the LinkedIn Learning system started to recommend R content to all of their grads. They started to take it, earn those badges and micro-credentials, and use those to land jobs. This was actually highlighted to the institution, and they took these learnings and actually changed their curricula based on findings from LinkedIn Learning Insights on recommendations. So these recommendations can be extremely powerful. So take a peek at them. They may recommend some content to you that's trending in your industry that might be helpful to keep you up to date, but certainly for our students, it's also very helpful. You'll also notice some of these social interactions, people that I am personally connected with, publicly liking courses, or coworkers of mine. There are live events. I can set goals. I can see what my organization is actually pushing out to me. So happiness tips weekly, I think that's pretty good. And then a collection that they have done for learning and development. So you can see all of these things right here within the home screen. but I can also search for content. So if I come in and do something like leadership and search, you're going to note that there's a lot of results. So 12,000 results, it's a little overwhelming. But right off the bat, I first need to think about what I want. So again, there are courses, and those are comprised of short videos. So maybe I just want something really granular. I can actually search by videos or full courses. And then learning paths are actually courses strung together to make a sort of a track. So in this case, I'm going to actually just look for courses, and that makes it a little bit better. So just about 1,000. And now it's going to sort by best match based on who I am. Again, foundations and fundamentals are always going to be your overview of a particular course. So if I pop into a course here, so right off the bat, you can see that the courses are broken up again into these videos. So if you want to assign within your classroom just a video or maybe a full chapter, you most certainly can. You'll note that there are chapter quizzes at the end. This is not an assessment tool. It is truly for the learner to understand and to be able to figure out if they're consuming the core content and to make sure they don't play it and walk away so that there's some engagement. There are learning groups. In most cases, you can download exercise files. In this case, this is part of a continuing education unit and has some certifications. There's Q&A section. This goes out publicly. Even the authors chime in sometimes. So it's really wonderful from that perspective to be able to engage. Of course, playback speeds, accessibility is really important to us. So, searchable transcripts, note-taking, playback speeds, tab navigation, all of those components are built into the platform. But if I do want to share this course, and pay attention, this part's critical. If I do want to share this course, it's this little arrow in the corner. You click it and you can just grab the link. You can put it in a syllabus, in an email, in a website, in Blackboard, and just throw that right in there. And that way your students have access to the content that you would like. So a couple of the things I wanted to highlight, one of those is our tips courses. If you're sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, I do not have time to take long courses, these tips courses might be for you, or if you want to grab short content for your students, this is also helpful. So you can grab any of these tips courses. We typically add a video a week to these. And modern society. They're going to be just short standalone videos, usually 1 to 5 minutes on a particular topic. So in this case, personal effectiveness, but there's personal finances, teacher tech tips, happiness tips, Excel tips, time management, communication, all of these really nice micro tip courses that you can explore. There are also, again, these learning paths that I just love, and there's some really great ones out there. So the one I want to show you is this one, Become a Successful Job Hunter. This one was actually built specifically for new college grads entering the workforce for the first time. So you can see what a learning path looks like. Everything kind of, in this case, it's an 11 course learning path, goes through everything from job hunting to college grads, turning an internship into a job, career path, interviewing, negotiation, and then how to succeed in a new job. So again, there are several hundred of them built into your platform, and you guys can customize on an as needed basis. So take a peek at those as well. All right, so I wanted to pause and open it up to Dr. Martinez. I know you have some ideas on how you would like to use this, and so I'd love to hear from you what your thoughts are and let you share.
Hi, I'm Janet. I work for the College of Health Professions. For the ones that don't know me, I see some familiar faces. But I teach technology integration in the health professions, and I loved the idea when this was introduced to me. I am by no means expert on this specific platform. I just started using it, but I fell in love with the idea because being from a technology background, I like the idea of being able to take something technology related, whether it's a tool or a software, to meet an existent need rather than create an additional burden. So to me, when this was brought up, it was, okay, where can I use this? My courses are already having this content or the curriculum. I didn't immediately think about my curriculum. It was about specific needs that my students need across the board. And a lot of my peers have them too. This have been needs that have been discussed over and over again in meetings. How do we meet this needs? So this came kind of at a perfect time. The two that we identified immediately were plagiarism. Our students need to know more about plagiarism. And writing. That was the other one, writing skills. When they write in discussion boards, when they write essays, research papers, their writing skills are very, very poor. So a lot of times we have to work with them, and our background is not English. We're not there to teach an entire English course, but we want to be able to provide that additional content for the students that need it, without having to create it and without adding more to our course. So this kind of fit that need. So that's immediately where I thought, okay, I'm going to use it and embed it in my course. So what I'm doing at this point, I'm teaching 2 undergraduate courses the first summer and 1 graduate. And usually the first week I use it as a kind of groundwork of, this is what we're going to be doing. This is the syllabus. Make sure you read it. But also I put in some of that information, the plagiarism, the writing skills, and these are workforce skills. So I found a lot of videos on plagiarism, a lot of entire courses on writing. The plagiarism, I chose small videos that I just added, and I created my own quiz. So I have my own assessment to check how they're doing. I'm on my first week of summer 1, so I still haven't received feedback on it yet. I'm hoping to hear that. I just got 1 email of a student that got confused on, it automatically was going to his LinkedIn profile. So I made sure, well, you have to sign in with your UTRGV credentials if you want to link it. So I explained that. I haven't received a reply, but I'm hoping that that will be solved. That's the only student that has replied so far in terms of having problems with that. The writing courses, because they are so extensive and time consuming, although they're great in terms of content, I decided to do them extra credit. And the reason to do that is because even when students realize that they have a need, it's hard to push them to do more, mostly for the students that really need it. So I said, the students that are going to ask me for extra credit are most likely the students that really need the skills. Also, when I write that feedback saying your sentences need to be clearer, you need to write concise, clear sentences, you need to work on your grammar, then I have somewhere to send them. It's not this kind of limbo where I send them off, well, find help on how to write more clear or how to do this or that. I have a place where I can send them. So I put 3 different courses on writing on different skills. I think one is on clarity, one is on grammar and punctuation, and the other one. So when they get their certificates, I ask them to upload the certificates, and they will get credit for each one that they get. So I definitely saw a need that this could meet. I would love for the videos to be able to be embedded rather than having to send, maybe in the future if this goes through, hopefully, where I can just embed the videos and the students can just click on them, because as you know, the longer it takes for them to get to the content, the more chances there are that they're going to get lost or distracted with something else. But I did review the videos on the content myself because there was just so much. I was overwhelmed at the beginning trying to find the time to find the right videos or the right courses. However, although it was very time consuming, I did discover that it's very hard to cheat because it doesn't just let you skip through it and get to the quiz and take it. you need to stay on each slide a certain amount of time and go through the videos for it to allow you to take the quiz for you to get the certificate. So there's a lot of steps that the students have to go through to really earn that certificate. It's not kind of like the trainings that sometimes we get that we just skip. Okay, take the quiz and get through it, and then just take it as many times as you need to. This one, it's not. It takes some time. Students are kind of forced to sit through it and read it and hopefully learn from it. But it's an additional resource that to me was very complete, very self-sustaining, that I would love to see stay. Now, I do want to see the feedback from my students. So what I did is on the course evaluations, I added 2 questions on what they felt about this one. I mean, the plagiarism is required because it's a short video. The writing ones are optional for extra credit. So at least they're supposed to do the plagiarism. So I want to know their feedback. On one of the questions I put, if they found the trainings helpful, and it's kind of a yes or no question just to have a numeric value, a quantitative type of idea. And then I put kind of an open-ended question. What is your feedback on this type of training? Tell me what you think. Usually they're very, very responsive, and I encourage them a lot to do the course evaluation. So I'm waiting to hear from them what they think and maybe kind of integrate them more. But I would love to hear questions on how I did it, or if I can help anyone on how to integrate it, I'll be glad to. It's a great platform that I would be glad to continue using. It's kind of this huge library that we can just pick and choose.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm also excited about your feedback. A couple of quick notes. It is a huge library. So as you guys are looking through the library, I would take a peek at the Excel spreadsheet of the most commonly used courses that's available on your landing page. That can help narrow it down. And also when you're in the course, the very first video is, we call it the welcome video. It should be 1 to 3 minutes, and they're going to cover generally what's in the course. So always start with that welcome video, and that should really help articulate. Also in the course description, there are typically learning objectives. Read through those and make sure before you spend time looking at it that those are the course objectives that you are trying to get. And that should save you at least a little bit of time. That welcome video and those course objectives, that way you can narrow down and really make sure that you watch the courses that are most meaningful to you. I also play with my playback speeds quite often. On the technology courses, I slow them way down. And then on the more soft skills, I speed them way up because I can just consume that content much quicker. So I would explore those as you're looking through content. Thank you for sharing. And we're thrilled that you're grabbing onto this and really playing with it. Again, we'd love to see as many faculty members as possible use it over the summer months, just so we can get good feedback for your particular campus. So I'm going to go through and answer some of these questions in the chat. So as far as where you can find the course selection, there are a number of ways, but that search bar right at the top is going to be the best way for you to look through content. Just so you know, we break our library out into business, technology, software, creative, and leadership. So those 4 topics are going to be heavily covered, but honestly, with 16,000 courses, there's a lot. So I would go through and search for those. The search bar, you can also navigate to advanced, intermediate, beginner level courses. We also have mapped courses in different subject areas for first year, second year, third year, senior year students. So I can provide you some of those mappings. So we try as best we can to hand deliver content to your groups just to make it easier, because we understand the library is big, but the search criteria should be really good for you. As far as, can you check the number of students who have taken the course? And that is, if you have admin access, you certainly can. Once the Blackboard integration is up and live, then obviously that reporting will be right within Blackboard. But until that integration is deeply set up, then you can just do it like Dr. Martinez, either include your assessments into Blackboard on your own or ask for the certificates if you're asking for a full course completion. Either of those work. Every single course within LinkedIn Learning earns the student a certificate that they can then download and provide to you. It is time dated, has the student's name, cannot be duplicated, falsified. So take a peek at those. But also, if you ask Jay here, she can grant you admin access to be able to report back on your student usage within LinkedIn Learning if you'd like to take it that far. The goal with the Blackboard integration is, assuming that we continue this service, right away we'll set up the Lite integration, which all of the content will be available, searchable within Blackboard. We launch 60 courses per week, so it will be refreshed daily and authentication will pass. So meaning if they're already logged into Blackboard and they click on LinkedIn Learning content, they won't have to re-log in. Their authentication from Blackboard will pass to LinkedIn Learning. And then in next spring, it takes a little bit longer to set this piece up. Next spring, then the reporting capabilities load into Blackboard. So that will come, likely for the spring semester 2022. Okay, you do not need to sign up for the free month first trial. If you're doing that, you are logging in incorrectly. Please, please, please navigate to your landing page. Let me actually show this piece live. If you go to LinkedIn directly and try to log in, you are going to be sent to the consumer platform where you'll be given a free trial, but try to navigate to this page right here. If you scroll down, there's going to be login, faculty login right here, student login here. You click it, enter your normal UTRGV credentials, and you should get right into an account for your institution.
Nicole, for everyone's convenience, there's actually a login button right below.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. We added it. Thank you. So yeah, you can click this link and it will just log you in. So this is where you want to access it and where you want to direct your students to access it. Now, that being said, if your students don't go to this page and you provide one of these links, oh, here we go. So if I am in this piece of content, pause it here, and I grab this links to the UTRGV account specifically. So if students click this link, it will take them to your single sign-on, your institution login directly. So they can skip the step of going to this page if you just provide the link and just say, enter your normal UTRGV credentials. That's fine too. Right.
And Nicole, so I'm a faculty member. If I want to, take some of these trainings, where would I go to? Like, what is the webpage that I go to? Is it somewhere on UTRGV or maybe on myutrgv.edu?
Yeah, let me drop this link to the page so you guys all have it right in here.
We can put that on the resource page as well, unless it's already there.
Yeah, because I don't want to memorize the link, right? I just want to go like, maybe if we can put it in my.utrgv.edu as an icon in there, then every time I log in there, I know I can just go straight to LinkedIn. Right? Because right now I've been going through an email, but I don't have that email my convenience each time.
I think that's a great idea. We'll work on that.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, I've been trying to log in and it keeps on taking me to the first trial. I do click on that, log in UTRGV, and it's just taking me to start a new trial. It does not take me into logging in as a UTRGV. You can try that right now. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Cynthia, I'll follow up with you on separately in email form following this, just make sure you can log in correctly, if you don't mind. Is that all right?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so a couple of these other questions. Who owns the content? So all of this content is owned by LinkedIn Learning. that we produce. If you add custom content to the platform, it is only going to be available in the UTRGV instance, and you own that. So we pay our authors on royalty. That's why they're very motivated to log in and answer questions about the content. But as far as the content ownership, it is us if we post it. It is you if you post it. All right, so the recommendations, are they based on popular courses, number of students? So the recommendations are dynamic. They're going to be based on a whole bunch of different things. So who a person is connected to, what industry they're in, what job they're in, if they're a student, if they're an employee, you know, based on what institution they're in and what's trending at their institution. So there's all kinds of recommendations, including the local workforce. So if we see that this is a student attending an institution, and in your case, most of your students end up staying in and around Texas, and we can look at Texas and there are some greater skills that are needed across the state, we'll start fulfilling those skill gaps by recommending content from that perspective as well. So it is a dynamic recommendation algorithm. Every single person, assuming they have connected the LinkedIn profile, should get custom recommendations based on who they are. So hopefully that helps. Could students have access to the site, search various courses of interest and review? Yes, of course. Students can definitely do that. And just as I shared content with you, they can share with each other. If you guys use Teams heavily, there's a Teams option to be able to share content within Teams. So all of that, those components are, you know, easily utilized for the students. So they can definitely search content as well. Let's see. Oh, looks like. All right, so I think those are most of the questions. Anybody else have questions? Are you guys all logging in? Is everyone else able to log in? Okay, well, I'll assume that. Okay, there, thanks, Renee. I'm glad you guys are getting in. So, you know, we're thrilled to be working with you guys. And if you want to speak to me about ideas that you have or suggestions, I will also drop my link in the chat. Or my email in the chat so that you can reach out directly, but we're happy to work with you. We're thrilled that we're getting this up and running on your campus. I hope this saves you a ton of time in providing your students more information. If you do ask your students to complete courses, please, please, please have them sync them to their LinkedIn profile. It is very meaningful for your students to be able to earn those badges and micro-credentials and showcase them. They earn them for life. So they won't go away, you know, once they graduate, it's theirs. So we love that they have that capability, and it is meaningful in helping them find employment after their time at your institution. I will also note that I do a lot of work with the Office of Workforce Development in the state of Texas and looking at employers who hire entry-level graduates, as I only work in higher education in the state. And I will say that there is concern following the pandemic across the entire state that some students may be light on their soft skills, communication, presentations, teamwork, just because all of us have been at home. So there is a learning path called Mastering In-Demand Soft Skills that we have built specifically for higher ed and for students following the pandemic. It pulls in all of these soft skills that are so critically important to employers and that all of us sort of have been light on since we're all stuck at home working. So I would also take a peek at that Mastering In-Demand Soft Skills. I think it will be incredibly helpful for everyone, but particularly for our students who are trying to land employment following a pandemic. So hopefully I have given you guys all the tools to be able to log in, feel comfortable using this. I hope you guys are excited about this tool. I'm here to help. Thank you, Jay, for posting the email to the office who is running this to be able to-
Yeah, so yes, if I may interrupt you right there, I know you get tons of emails from everywhere. So since you represent LinkedIn Learning, for a lot of other universities that you work with. And for our university, I'd like to get it a little more structured so that people can send their questions, comments to pewdoffice@utrgv.edu. I posted it right there in the chat session. I would highly recommend and request you all to send your questions and comments to that so that we can compile them together and send it to Nicole and make that process a little more expedited as well, and get all of you, not that Nicole takes, too long of a time to get back. I'm just saying, I just want to make sure that our office is involved in that communication, and so we can expedite it from both ends as well. I do want to really commend all of you guys for making time today to attend this training. And before it was launched campus-wide, there's a lot of work that went into this to study it in a small scale at a pilot level before we launched this to the entire campus as an expanded pilot, so that everyone gets introduced to this tool that is heavily being used in other places. But at UTRGV, we are really taking more of an effort and strategy to get more and more faculty involved in this, because I really see this through the pilots that I ran last year. I can clearly see that this can become a supplemental tool that is at the fingertip of every faculty member to use. When I was talking to Janet, if I could bring you in, Janet, thank you so much for sharing. I love the idea of cross-referencing for a course that you're teaching. Like she said, writing is needed in a lot of the courses, especially at the graduate level, and not all students possess the writing skills that they're required. And this will definitely serve as a great tool for them to kind of learn some quick tips and incorporate them into their writing as well. When I was talking to Janet last couple of weeks ago, and I said, by the way, this tool is available, and her immediate reaction was, my goodness, it's going to save me so much time, because I was spending a lot of time curating my own content that was used as a supplement to the classroom teaching. And this is already prepared and very nicely done and also training is conducted by the industry experts that LinkedIn Learning handpicks and delivers through these aesthetically pleasing setting as well. So what I like about this from the student's perspective is that courses, no matter how long they are, they're organized in a YouTube type of snippets that are not more than 3 minutes long. So with the really short attention span that this generation comes in with, or all of us have that nowadays, it really serves well for them to kind of intake that knowledge and information in a small snippet, so that it kind of it's retained in their mind as well, and then they can put it on their smartphones and take it with them wherever they go. And I really hope and pray that instead of getting on just any YouTube video on their smartphones when they're sitting in a line or waiting for something, they would use the courses that you have required them to learn in between the classroom and take advantage of that. I really hope that that's where we're headed. And I commend you all for taking time to attend this training. And I really hope and expect you all to use your creative mind to utilize this tool platform in whatever way you think is helpful, and definitely incorporate at least some of those questions in your evaluation so that we get some feedback from students about how useful this tool was to them as well. We are closely monitoring this to be able to find enough justification to expand this tool to the year beyond the summer months. So I will appreciate the support from you all as well, because I see you all as the messengers to the students to let them know this is an important tool. And without realizing it, they actually gain a industry badge that goes on their LinkedIn profile as well, which is an icing on the cake. So Thank you all. And again, thanks for the questions. This session, like I said before, is recorded so that we can put it on the resource page that we've created for LinkedIn Learning. It was shared before, but I really like Dr. Villalobos' suggestion that we should put it on the my.utrgv login as a sliding banner as well. It makes it very easy for people to click on it. But in the meantime, we are going to be posting a lot of resources on this resource page that we created. We will follow up with an email after today's training and share the link to the resource page and the link to the login as well. I know that today is the first day of the summer session one. I wish you all best of luck and thanks again. If there are no other questions, unless Nicole or Janet have anything else to add, we could end this end the session. Are there any questions that we have not addressed that are in the chat?
I think we got through most of them. I'll hang out for a few more minutes if anyone has any lingering questions, but otherwise, again, congrats on day one of summer one, and thank you guys for carving out time. I hope you love this tool and you use it and it saves you guys all time, effort, mental anguish. So congrats and have a wonderful summer.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Nicole, I have a quick question.
Mhm.
So this is Christina again. For, I've got a LinkedIn account. I use it once in a while, a lot of, connections and all, but I don't have my resume on LinkedIn. For students, is it possible for them to create their whole resume in LinkedIn and then have it printed out, like you would say in a Word file or something like that?
Yeah, it absolutely is. So what's recommended for students who are going to be building a professional network and using this as a job, search tool is that they fill out a LinkedIn profile, and we can actually come in and do presentations to your class or your campus about how best to manage a professional identity on LinkedIn. I do them all the time. So if you want us to speak to your class, let me know. But what they can do is actually, a resume is a little bit different than a profile. It's very similar, but it's a little bit different. But they can actually take that resume and import the PDF document right into their LinkedIn profile so that folks can actually click on it and pull the profile. It's recommended they take their contact information off because, for privacy issues, if they're going to do that, folks can reach out to them through LinkedIn. But absolutely. Additionally, they want to have a complete enough LinkedIn profile that they're going to be picked up by what's known as LinkedIn Recruiter, which is a recruitment technology that most institutions use to recruit on LinkedIn. They can also quick apply with their LinkedIn profile in most applicant tracking systems. So they definitely want both. You're not going to use one or the other. You want both and you want them connected.
Okay, got it. And does LinkedIn, because I know there's also talk about, having students build like a portfolio so that they can include their work in a web page that can be viewed by, recruiters and all. Is that possible also through LinkedIn?
Yep, absolutely. Most institutions are now leaning on LinkedIn because LinkedIn profiles are free for students for life. And this is where they'll likely end up. So no point in building an additional profile that's going to be abandoned at some point. You want to really do this on LinkedIn. And so, yes, they can put link to digital work, add PDFs, have a full portfolio of their work available right there within their LinkedIn profile.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you. So yeah, I will be contacting you separately to give a talk to students. So great. Thank you.
Yeah, happy to do so.
All right. And I believe one of our students is working at LinkedIn. I'm trying to remember his name. He was working at our STEM center as a web developer, and he got a job at LinkedIn.
All right.
Yeah. So we've got UTRGV representation there.
I think I've taken a peek. I think you've got actually a few students.
Okay, great. Great. That's awesome. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hopefully there'll be a lot more in the future.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Jen.
it.
Likewise. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.